What's up? Welcome, everyone. It's Bonefish, a podcast about music of the experimental, psychedelic persuasion. We've been discussing the works of Animal Collective, and today that continues as we chat about Fall Be Kind EP. I'm Christian, and I'm here with Justin. Justin, how are you doing?
Doing good. Excited to be living back in the past after turning the clocks back.
Yes, we have fallen behind. We're in fall mode. So you dig it. You like how it's dark early now.
Yeah, spice up the day a little bit, change things up.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we don't have many seasons here in LA, but setting the clocks back does sort of force you to enter fall mode, whether you like it or not. So here we are. So in the last episode, you said, sometimes I feel like I'm getting too old to listen to Animal Collective.
I did.
And I demand you explain yourself, because I don't get that. What do you mean? You're not going to stop liking them.
I mean, I just had my 72nd birthday, so...
You just had a son, so you just feel super old.
No, just kidding. How funny would that be if I was like 72 and nobody knew until now? I was just like, yeah, I'm 72. I listen to a lot of Animal Collective.
You're only 42.
Watch it. Not there yet. Have not entered my fourth decade.
Then don't you think the music you love and like your young adulthood will stick with you? Yeah,
no, I'm gonna always listen to Animal Collective. I mean, what I was trying to say was, I think Animal Collective just has a lot of energy, a lot of youthful energy. They've kind of got that childlike, wonder.
Yeah.
And since we were talking about Young Prayer, I was just saying how this is kind of the more kind of grown up, formal take on Animal Collective that I feel more connected to now in my late 30s, as opposed to say like,
gotcha. Yeah.
Or Feels or something. I don't know. And also I'm just I mean, sometimes I think about like, will the band be playing like We Tigers or in like when they're 50 or 60, hopping up and down and yelling, I hope so.
I mean they're like 40 and they sung it like a couple years ago, so.
Yeah, and they nailed it. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. There are certain elements, certain albums or songs of theirs that have an undeniably youthful ethos. But I see what you mean. I think I'll still be blasting Who Could Win a Rabbit, when I'm, pushing my walker around.
Yeah, for sure. Never stop.
Well, before we get into Fall Be Kind, we thought we could chat a bit about other music we like to play during the fall. And I always think of Yo La Tango. I know there's like the Autumn Sweater thing, which is like quintessential indie rock fall song. But the thing is, it's good. And it does feel like fall. But there are other music too, I think I kind of turn to in the fall. Some of their more like down-tempo, lower-key stuff, especially. But the early punkier shit is cool too. King Cruel is another one I thought of. Listen to that crazy gravelly voice and some spooky guitars. To me, Neutral Milk Hotel, big fall band. I know you're not up on them somehow, but they're actually relevant. They just got a Grammy nomination for like the packaging for like their vinyl box set or something, which is funny.
Good for them.
But and then another Baltimore band, Lower Dens, no longer active, but their first couple albums, Twin Hand Movement and Noatropics, is that the second one? Those both have powerful autumnal energies. What are some of yours?
I usually listen to a lot of country music in the fall. I've been listening to Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel. Kid A, I think, is a great fall album.
Definitely.
I think it was actually released in the fall.
Yeah.
And it's just got that cold existential malaise. That's always been a fall album for me.
A lot of Radiohead albums pair nicely.
Yeah, a lot of country music.
Sick. I'm not a country guy like at all. You need to maybe give me some. When I hear country, I just think like Garth Brooks, I mean, I know there's good shit out there like Merle Haggard and stuff, but
oh my god. Check out Graham Parsons.
Okay. Will do.
Yeah, fall, pretty cool season.
Pretty cool in all the meanings.
Bonefish.
We're talking about Fall Be Kind
Hell yeah.
EP.
EP, it's like what? It's almost like LP length. It's like what, 27, 28 minutes, which is like these days, like to me, a perfect album length.
Yeah, it's hefty for sure. Lots of long songs, and it's definitely better for it. What an incredible piece of music. Incredible follow-up to Merriweather. You know, they continue in the tradition of doing these kind of companion EPs. And as phenomenal as Merriweather is, you know, I don't think this disappoints as its companion.
Yeah, it's definitely part of their peak Imperial phase for sure. It came out almost 14 years ago, November 23rd, 2009 on Domino.
Dang.
And yeah, it capped off an amazing year, obviously. This was awesome revisiting. I love this EP. I've always loved it. I think a lot of people do. It's just like perfect.
Yeah, man. I kind of agree.
When's the last time you listened to this before getting ready for the pod?
Yeah, all the way through, it's been a while. I mean, you know, What Would I Want Sky is like, you know, sort of goes in and out of my regular rotation, as does Grays, to a somewhat lesser extent. But yeah, man, it's been a long time since I've just gone straight through it. And what a delight. Yeah, I kind of forgot how essentially perfect it is. Listening through it all the way again brought me back to, you know, just that time when it came out, and, you know, became a fan from Merriweather. And then their immediate next release was, I guess, not as different. I guess it's pretty in the vein of Merriweather, but
Yeah, I definitely think of this in the Merriweather universe as for a few other releases. But yeah, it's like a darker Merriweather postscript, kind of.
yeah, I remember a lot of the like press around it at the time saying that, and, you know, obviously the album art is evocative of that. But then, like, I remember the first time you play it, it starts with Grays into What Would I Want Sky, which is, you know, just pure sunshine, kind of. Maybe not pure.
Yeah,
You could maybe say there's some
it's
clouds
it's
there,
sunshine for a bit.
but it definitely feels in the Merriweather
Definitely.
spring summer vibe zone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Then it quickly takes a turn for the dark
yeah,
after those two tracks.
yeah. When the blood begins to flow. Yeah, man, I just remember I was a sophomore in college. I have a memory of like pointing my speakers out the window one morning and like blasting Grays, just like those opening chords into the pan flute jam.
Good morning, Narcs.
Yeah, exactly. It probably wasn't that early in the day. It was probably like mid-morning when I did that. But yeah, it really takes me back to that
3 p.m.
time of, you know, I had gotten into them the year before. I had seen them on tour that summer in Dallas, Texas. And then, yeah, just EP came out that I loved.
First in MP3. We had to download the MP3. Well, there was a leak, I think, first. And yeah,
Right.
we were all just illegally downloading music, which was so much fun.
I don't know if probably one of my friends did it. I don't remember if I was like that savvy yet. I was pretty slow to the whole like, you know, I mean, I had like LimeWire and all that, but in college, I remember like the torrent game. I was like, what is this? It's crazy.
I think then I was using like Pirate Bay or something.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But yeah, no, I mean, this is like peak 2009, man. Like Animal Collective could do no wrong.
Do you have memories of like personal memories of this time of like hearing this music for the first time, or like?
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember checking it out as soon as I was able to get it in the fall. Then loving it, just came at the perfect time. Obviously, '09 was my first year just really going deep into the band
Hmm.
and just immediately loved it, man. Love the kind of continuation of Merriweather, these kind of like super low end songs with like this sort of like almost IMAX sheen to them, like very widescreen
Totally.
um,
Yeah.
beats, just incredible, just like mind blowing. And it was like, wow, they're still going.
Yeah, I always listening to this EP for whatever reason. I think it's maybe like Dave's voice at the beginning of Grays, but I always think like, wow, he sounds so good. He sounds so different than he has in the past. And like, I don't know, often bands that start in this sort of grungier, more DIY zone that end up, moving to a more, like you said, like produced like sound that has like a sheen to it. I don't know. Sometimes that can also come with a downturn in what some fans perceive as like what they really liked about the band from the early days. But
Mm.
whenever I hear this, I'm just like, wow, yeah, this sounds so pro,
Yeah,
so like grandiose,
yeah,
but still so Animal Collective and
yeah.
in
I
like the
mean,
best
yeah,
ways. Yeah.
incredible production. Just, I mean, this era, I mean, honestly, some of the best production I've ever heard in my life, I think.
Yeah. Shout out Ben Allen
Yeah, Ben Allen, who
the third.
came up doing, he was like an engineer for Bad Boy Records, and Animal Collective liked him because he was really good at low end and worked on a lot of hip hop songs. And, this was at the time, Merriweather and this were the only Animal Collective albums with bass on it. So yeah, Ben Allen really is credited with also just kind of the production, and I think he was big on making sure their vocals were up in the mix more. I think if this wasn't a Ben Allen production,
Hmm.
I think their vocals would have been even more kind of absorbed into the background and
Yeah.
and not. And I think there was some not arguments, but I think a lot of debate about that. I think he really won that argument and was able to bring out their vocals more. And yeah, it sounds amazing.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe it helps explain sort of their turn away from that with Centipede, where AV's voice is really kind of smeared and alien sounding. And,
Hmm.
but yeah, so glad that they stuck in this vein for this EP. Do you want to like go through track by track and talk about
Yeah,
each of
sure.
them? Or first of all, I did just want to say like Fall Be Kind. Like these dudes really love wordplay, huh? Like so many
They do Lion in a Coma,
Lion in a
Fall Be
Coma,
Kind.
Brother Sport, sort of that word mash. Because they're saying he's singing support your brother sport, and like the more you say it, it becomes kind of brother sport.
Wow.
Wait, did you never
Yeah.
think of that before? Or did you
I
had
did
you
never think of that for brother sport. Support your brother.
Yeah.
That never clicked, and I've listened to that song 8 million times. Love it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so it's like I remember reading that it was after Noah's dad passed away. The inspiration for Brother Sport was to like encourage his brother who was pretty down at the time and depressed, and so that
Hmm.
repeating lyric at the end, support your brother, became kind of like Brother Sport, sort of the misheard,
Wow.
intentionally
Damn.
misheard. Yeah.
That that's crazy. That's why I love this band.
Another one I thought of just recently is On Delay. Do you think that's like the Spanish On Delay?
It could be. There's kind of a galloping vibe to that song.
Noah does live in a Spanish-speaking country, so
Well, I think. What, don't they speak Portuguese in Portugal? I don't know.
right. But that's pretty
I
close
guess
to
that's
Spanish.
that's pretty close, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you know if Portuguese people say On Delay, let us know. Hit us up. We don't know.
Yeah, let us know, Portuguese boneheads.
Jim and I is an obvious one. Sung Tongs too, another one of their word plays. But yeah, Fall Be Kind, pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah, man, Gray's Let Me Begin feels good because it's early. Such a terrific opening line. For the EP, it accompanies the sounds like really well. Yeah, very, very strong vibe right off the bat. And that with like Dave's very, very clear, very like sung from the chest, kind of powerful voice is all pretty pretty affecting.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like waking up, sun getting in your eyes, waking up.
Let's not worry. Nice mantra to start the day with. Yeah, it's this track feels super operatic to me. Like you have Dave come in with these grand kind of melodies. He really is like hitting the high notes, and then kind of like the light shines on the other part of the stage, and Noah starts his sort of
Oh yeah, then
singing.
it dissolves into this like piano thing with Noah.
Yeah, it kind of has the feeling of like a soliloquy a little bit. Like both of them are, the lyrics sound pretty personal. I think they're kind of in a way referencing, what has happened with the band via Merriweather and their newfound popularity. He says like, "How does a band turn into such a thing?" I think is his first line. Yeah, also love the line, "What's in my face that warrants all this sass?" I feel like that's an underrated lyric. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really struck by how kind of like quote unquote grown up both of their voices sound in like the beginning of this song. And I guess they do on Merriweather too, but I don't know. There's something about maybe it's like the kind of starkness of the opening of Grays that really puts that into like sharp relief or something.
Yeah, it's in focus.
Yeah.
Then we got
Pan flute jam.
Then we've got these Romanian pan flutes that come out of nowhere.
What was your first reaction when you heard that for the first time?
I mean, I think I laughed, and then I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's a sample of this Romanian guy named George Zamfir. It's called Ardelina.
And it's not really altered much, right? It's pretty much just straight lifted, yeah.
Just straight lifted. Bam, here you go. And then that segues into this awesome kind of chorus that's so good.
Yeah, dude. I was really I think I was pretty shocked the first time I heard it. Like, it's this really, like I said, operatic, reflective, grandiose beginning, and then suddenly it's like I'm in Kakariko Village all of a sudden with like Link and Saria. I feel like this song there's like interesting like seeds of defeat in this song, like the song Defeat, like
the beginning.
The way it's pretty open in the beginning, and even like the pan flute coming in kind of reminds me of the
changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's also a cello on here, which I did not know. There's a cello on Grace, and I think there's a cello on Defeat, right?
I think so. Yeah, I remember reading that in the liner notes.
There's a cello on Graze and on Bleed. I never knew that. That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah, it does feel sort of spiritually like akin to Defeat. I mean, that left turn for the pan flute jam reminds me of like the big kind of, I guess, breakdown chorus on Defeat. And I don't know, they both have sort of like a primordial kind of feel to them. Even that pan flute jam, like I'm picturing literally Pan like hopping around with his like lute.
Yeah, like I picture like a Disney cartoon, like
yeah,
like this song especially just kind of like especially Avi's intro where it's kind of this very green, kind of wide-eyed sing-songy thing. I could definitely see it in a Disney film.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Our boy Mark Richardson reviewed this EP for Pitchfork, and I just wanted to read a part of it that is relevant now. Quote, "And thus it becomes clear that Animal Collective, despite having become a certain kind of alt touchstone in 2009, doesn't care much about conventional notions of cool. If they want to get dorky and put in a section that asks you to bust out the medieval garb, hop around on one leg for a minute, they'll do it. And maybe they'll put this song in the lead spot on an EP that follows up the biggest and most successful record of their career. All this went through my mind before finding out, after reading the Fall Be Kind credits, that the flute sample comes courtesy of an artist whose name became a punchline after an endless run of goofy TV spots advertising his music. Zamfir, the master of the pan flute. Cool? These guys aren't sweating it." End quote. So yeah, I guess it's from like a famous commercial or something from back in the day also, but...
Interesting, yeah. I mean, they also... sampled the Grateful Dead, which was one of the uncoolest things you could probably do in 2009.
Right, and the first one to ever do it, which,
Yeah.
Speaking of the bass you were mentioning earlier, yeah, like coming midway through the bizarre pan flute jam, like when that comfort part hits, it comes in like so heavy and satisfying. And then, yeah, the rest of the jam is so sick and even though it starts off in this like funky, bizarre place, they kind of like are determined to turn it into a jam and succeed, you know? I just like picture like, I don't know, it's funny. I picture like them DJing this song at a party and like the beginning and then like dropping the pan flute jam, just like picturing people looking at each other. But yeah, the end goes hard. And then, yeah.
I mean, that's what a great DJ does. You just like kind of shock people.
Yeah, that's a good point. You make them earn it.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, the transition into What Would I Want Sky is really tight.
Starts getting dark now a little bit with the first half of What Would I Want Sky.
Right. Storm clouds roll in a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely feels like this starts off like at the bottom of the ocean, kind of. And you're kind of being launched like into the sky. And when that second part kicks in, you know, it's kind of, clouds part. It's sunny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best Animal Collective songs ever, right?
It is, yeah. I think it's top 3.
And it didn't even make Merriweather Post Pavilion. Like,
insane. Yeah.
They're really good with sequencing albums, and I totally understand how they couldn't fit these on Merriweather. But
yeah.
So let me ask you, if you had to put this song on Merriweather, where would you put it?
Oh, geez. See, that's tough. Maybe that's why it's not, you know. I mean,
well, definitely, yeah.
I guess my knee-jerk reaction is like last third.
Yeah.
Like obviously, maybe before Brother Sport.
I was thinking.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking before Brother Sport, and maybe. I mean, this is just. I can't say this, but maybe cut it off and start it in the middle, you know, and then go into Brother Sport. I don't know, but.
Oh, you mean cut off the intro and just have like.
And have it be the second to last song.
Just have the Sky part of What Would I Want Sky.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh. I was going to ask, do you ever throw it on and do you ever fast forward to that part?
No, I don't. I love that part.
Yeah. The crunchy drum sample in the beginning and all the vocalizing. It's so tight. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Were they saying Good Dreams?
Sounds like dreams. I always thought it was Good Deeds.
Good Dreams. I thought it was Dreams. Let's see.
In college, when I was playing Super Smash Bros. Constantly, me and my friends would say Goldine. Goldine.
I don't think there's official lyrics for this.
What I found didn't include this part. It just starts off at What Would I Want Sky.
Yeah, dang. I want to say it's Good Dreams. I want to say, but I could be total. I could just be the consensus among fans, and they might.
There's some live versions where it really sounds like Good Dreams.
Love the live.
It does It does sound more like Good Deeds to me in the recording, but I've heard some live versions that definitely sound like Good Dreams. Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first official sample that the Grateful Dead have licensed, and it's of a Phil Lesh song called Unbroken Chain.
I always kind of assumed it was Jerry Garcia, but yeah, when I looked it up, I was like, oh, it's Phil Lesh.
This is a rare Phil Lesh song. It's a great song.
He's the bassist, right? It's terrific, dude.
He's the bassist. He never really has his own songs. But the lyric from the Phil song is Willow Sky, whoa, I walk and wonder why.
Willow Sky, whoa, I walk and wonder why. They say love your brother, but you will catch it when you try.
Right, Sky is the first part.
Which is very different from the sample that Dave made.
Yeah, is it confirmed that he made it? Because he's the Dead guy, right? He's the Dead.
Yeah, him and Brian are. I'm pretty sure Dave is the one who picked that sample. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. So you go from that to, what is it? Sky, What Would I Want, right?
Right. Yeah, the intentionally, or maybe not intentionally, misheard lyric of, What Would I Want, Sky? Which is so cool. It sounds just like it. It's such a inventive, bizarre, but beautiful thing that totally works, especially coming out of that first half of the song that's much more free form. The transition into this section, Phil Lesh's voice just kind of greets you with a warm sort of hug.
Yeah, and they're both pretty warm songs.
Totally.
What Would I Want Sky is kind of that, hey, how are you, man? How's it going? Vibe. Getting through the day. Yeah. It's just
do you feel all right? Yeah.
It's so good.
Moldy.
Yeah, the Dead they've had a renaissance in the past, 5 or so years, but at this time in '09, they were not cool in the indie community. So to do this and sample them was a fucking move, and it worked. And, it got me thinking about Animal Collective as like, in a reductive way. They're called like a hipster jam band or like, hipster fish or whatever.
Yeah. See, I'm not a big Dead guy, so I'm sort of ignorant to that side of it. But I have seen them called like, the Grateful Dead of like our generation, or there's definitely a kinship there. Was the uncoolness, was it like, did it come from like the status of Grateful Dead just not being really as relevant, or was it more like, Animal Collective, a jam band, are sampling the ultimate jam band Grateful Dead? Was there like any of that?
I think it's more the former, like, the Dead, like just in that moment in time. I remember if you were reading Pitchfork, Stereogum, Indie Heads, even me, we were just like, Grateful Dead, like, why? Like we don't get it. And I mean, Animal Collective is the band that actually got me into the Dead, along with some friends who kept pressuring me, and then loved it eventually. Today I love the Dead.
Yeah, it definitely has seemed to make a resurgence in like quote unquote cool culture.
Yeah, today it's a different story. You got Online Ceramics, you got John Mayer, Dead and Company.
Isn't there a Dead bar in Pasadena?
The Martin Scorsese film. Oh, that they put on a Dead night. You should go. Right. It's fun.
Wait, what's the Scorsese Dead thing?
He did a documentary, Long Strange Trip. That was Scorsese, right? Long Strange Trip.
Oh, I don't know. I gotta watch it. Sounds good.
Yeah, you'd like it. Yeah, and he's supposed to be directing a Dead film with Jonah Hill as Jerry.
What?
Yeah. Anyway,
crazy.
So the thing with another kind of Animal Collective connection, like, so they're this electronic band that is like a DJ set, and they improvise. And in the late kind of '90s and early 2000s, there was a lot of bands in like the jam band scene that would like you'd see on all these festivals, that weren't really that well known, but in the jam band community they were like huge. And they were, it was kind of like what Animal Collective was doing before Animal Collective, where it's like they're kind of improvising as DJs, and it's like this electronic psychedelic thing. And there were some bands like that, like Lotus and I think Sound Tribe, Sector 9. Anyway, I feel like Animal Collective like took that model and just made it better. Like they just like they made that and took that model like outside of the jam band ecosystem, whereas before these bands only kind of were popular in that jam band bubble. But anyway, there's definitely a connection there.
That's cool. Yeah, that is another one of the cool things about this band that has such sort of diverse influences and cross so many boundaries, is that you invest time in like their music, and then it leads you to all these other cool places that you maybe wouldn't encounter otherwise.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, speaking of the Dead, I don't know, What Would I Want Sky definitely feels like there are references to like, I don't know, wanting to have a good trip as opposed to a strange trip. Speaking of long, strange trips, like it's encouraging. It's like, you're feeling moldy. You're not the only. I should be floating, but I'm weighted by thinking, whomst among us hasn't been there.
Yeah.
Not even in reference to any kind of trip or anything, but just in life.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like the point of Horizon is hiding from you, Justin?
All the time. It's a crazy time signature, this song, too.
Yeah, I think it's in like 7/8. It's really interesting what that decision to put it in that time signature kind of means for this song. I mean, I'm guessing it's probably determined by the sample, but there's also totally ways to take a sample like that and like put it into 4/4. I remember after Merriweather came out, I remember coming across a remix of Daily Routine.
Phase 1?
Maybe. It was put in a straight time.
so good.
It is so good.
Yeah, Straight Time. Yeah, that was phase 1. Did that remix. Wow, that's such a peak that's such a peak blog rock
Yeah,
reference.
dude. Hell yeah.
Great remix.
Yeah, but it is just it's so good because it's just basically leaving the song alone, but putting it in like a more accessible time signature. So I always felt a little bit like, I don't know, not conflicted. That's like too strong a word. It is a great remix, but part of me wonders like, oh, like what would I want Sky, like Straight Time treatment kind of sound like? I mean, I love the offbeatness of it. I think also Dave basing all of his melodic phrases around the kind of offbeat signature kind of lends itself to all these cool rhythmic selections of his words, and like he gets into different pockets, like he sings around it in these really cool ways. So like everything for the rest of this song is just like bliss to me. Like
it's so good. It's so good.
Dave's, both their voices, their melodies. When Noah comes in on the second verse with the like counterpoint harmony, that's like he's singing different stuff, but you can kind of still pick it all up. Like it's mixed so well. Like I wonder,
well, it's like it's that thing they do where it sounds like it's two songs going at once, but it works perfectly. And you could depending on who you follow vocally, you're listening to like a totally different song. It's so cool.
Right. It's like a blissful disorientation, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if you did put it in like more of a straight time, you would lose some of that disorientingness, which I think makes it so good. But that's like, one of my favorite things this band does is give you that like blissful disorientation. And then the other cool thing about the sample is like, I know it's going the whole time, but by the end, when they're all singing the title of the song, it's like you have Phil, Noah, and Dave all singing together in this like beautiful way, which is so cool.
That I never even really realized either, because you kind of don't hear the Phil sample after a while, but
yeah, it kind of sinks into the background.
Yeah, it is the Dead singing with Animal Collective,
Yeah,
which is awesome. Though Dave did go on he went on a Mickey Hart solo album. Mickey Hart was one of the drummers in the Dead. Have you ever listened to those songs?
I don't think so.
I'll send it to you. I think it's called Ramu, Ramu. Avy's on like 3 Mickey Hart songs, and that's pretty interesting.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I definitely need to check those out.
So he did go on to eventually directly collaborate with the band, which is really cool because we know that Dave and Brian are the huge. I think that they saw Jerry before he died. They saw him live.
Whoa.
They must have been pretty young.
Yeah. Like 12-year-old deadheads.
Oh yeah, they started young, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Little zoners at the early 90s Dead show.
Yeah, dude. Mom's picking me up after. Gotta eat some breath mints.
Hurry up, do this knife hit.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention earlier, this band does a good job too of saving like phenomenal music for the EPs that could totally like be a anchor of an album. Like I think there's an argument that Kind of Bonkers is one of their sort of later period like best songs. I love that song.
Same, yeah.
From the Painters EP, but
all their EPs are good, and they do hide the ball and save the good ones for the EPs,
Yeah, but it still has, it has the hallmarks of what makes Merriweather great, which is like Dave and Noah both locked in together with their melodies and singing and like harmonic sort of sense. They seem just so kind of in sync in this period.
Yeah, I'm wondering,
Before hearing the recorded version, I did hear it live in Dallas when I saw him that summer, and I remember it being really cool. Yeah, I remember Gio like triggering those drum samples in the beginning. In the Live at 9:30 version, it's cool because Noah's like playing live drum. He's like doing that sample.
Yeah, that's really
like, on a live kit.
Yeah, and Deacon's on bass.
Yeah, it's super jammy. Oh, is he? Yeah,
he's on bass because like for the first half, he has a really cool bass line that he plays that's always stuck out to me. I've always loved that version. Yeah, from the Centipede era.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, I listened to Unbroken Chain a bunch leading up to this, and maybe that will be my way into the Dead, because it's groovy as hell.
Yeah, that breakdown, man.
From the Mars Hotel is the album. Some cool jams on that one.
Yeah, that's a cool album. Yeah, they're not known for their studio albums, but I like that one.
Oh yeah, here I had a couple quotes in my notes from Gio and Dave on their relationship to the Dead that I'll just read real quick. This is Brian, geologist. Quote, "I'm a big fan. The Dead's Dark Star is a huge song for me. I remember hearing it in my friend's brother's car around the time I was getting into Pink Floyd's Interstellar Overdrive. Within a year or two, we were into the longer Pavement songs, or at least their live versions, like Fight This Generation." It's cool that the Dead led him to Pavement. That's pretty interesting. I guess that's maybe you could consider that like a natural progression, but it's pretty different, like the punk aesthetic.
Have you listened to A Dark Star yet?
No.
Oh, dude, okay. I'm gonna give you homework.
Okay.
Yeah, when it's nighttime and the kids are put to bed, put on a little Dark Star.
Okay.
The studio version is only like 2 minutes long, and the reason why it's cool and kind of big in the Dead community is because it just balloons into this 20, 30, 40-minute improvisation.
Nice.
I think you would like it.
Here's a quote from Dave about the Dead. Quote, "An important meeting point for me was realizing the similarity between a DJ set and a Grateful Dead set. I grew up listening to how the Dead would take a song and just jam on it and then transition into another song. But I don't play guitar like Jerry Garcia plays guitar. So we started thinking about how that crossed over with electronic music and how that same thing." This is pretty much exactly what you said earlier.
Yeah. And that is the formula for basically the Merriweather area, like a mix between something like the Dead or the Beach Boys and electronic DJ set.
Damn. Yeah, that's kind of mind-blowing.
And it's such a brilliant move, you know?
Yeah. The quote continues, "There was a time period when we were practicing in our apartments where we would try to make up a song on the spot and then slowly turn it into another improvised song." End quote. So yeah, that's super interesting and definitely explains why a lot of these songs are sort of like two-parters in a way.
Mm.
Is there a better Animal Collective song?
Then What Would I Want, Sky? Yeah, there is. There is.
What would you put above it?
What would I put above it?
Yeah.
Brother Sport. Maybe
Really?
even My
Nice.
Girls. Fireworks. Banshee Beat I'd put above it, maybe. I like the build, the slow build.
Yeah.
The slow build and release Anco songs, the long drawn out ones.
Yeah. I was thinking Reverend Green or maybe a Daily Routine as being above that, but
Yeah, I mean, both fucking classics.
And then we take the darker turn into Bleed. Once again, some nice interplay between Dave and Noah, like vocally, kind of singing around each other. This one's really like swampy and atmospheric, kind of brought a little infant dressing table vibes, a little bit of down there swampiness in the mix.
Yes.
Definitely feels more like album art vibe than the first two. It's funny, like with Mark, we're talking about Young Prayer, how that really upbeat third track is kind of like a palate cleanser from the like kind of emotional weight of the first two songs. It kind of feels like the opposite, like we're in Happy Dappy Land, and then we kind of have a short little moody palate cleanser that transitions us to the darker second half.
Yeah, darker second half. Yeah, and it's the halfway point of the album. It's perfectly sequenced. I was reading the Rolling Stone review, which did not like this EP. I think they gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was like only a paragraph long, the review, and it ended with "Somebody in Brooklyn needs an editor."
Wow.
I mean, no surprises there. Whereas, Pitchfork gave this an 8.9. Yeah, an 8.9.
Best new music, sort of rare for EPs, right?
Yeah, I guess. On a highway.
Classic tour song, you know, tour lament track.
Sick of Noah's dreaming, or jealous of Noah's dreaming.
He's jealous. It's because he's smoking that hash on the side of the highway, and as we know, you don't dream.
Yeah, yeah, staying up cooked.
Talks about needing to piss while you're in the van, and yeah, a rare direct reference to a bandmate in that lyric you just mentioned.
Yeah, this is like maybe some of my favorite, if not my favorite, Panda Bear drumming.
Dude, the drumming rips.
Just the way they caught that sound.
Yeah, it's live, right? It sounds live, but like really crunchily processed. I was like, these sound kind of too good to be like samples, but this is definitely in like the sample drum era.
It's definitely played. Yeah. I don't know if it was played live. I think they tracked everything live. I think they mic'd his percussion in some hallway. I remember thinking they found like,
oh yeah,
they found
it's kind of
spot
boomy
where it sounded really good, and yeah, it sounds amazing.
Dude, it's so good. It's like, yeah, not only do the drums themselves just sound awesome, but it also kind of like changes your understanding of like the rhythm of the song, which before the drums come in is sort of dominated by that like synthy sampley thing. Not sure what it is, but yeah, dude, that's definitely the best part of this track. What are other good like tour lament songs? Like I thought of On Tour, Kurt Weill. It's a good one.
On the road again.
Yeah, it's the classic,
Here I
right?
am.
I've Been Everywhere, Man by Johnny Cash. Not as many, not as popular as they once were, maybe. Yep, they want to go home. They've been touring for too long. I Think I Can. I forgot how hard this song goes, dude.
Goes so hard.
Shame on me. Little synth loop at the beginning is so cool, and then when those like claps start, I'm just like, here we fucking go, dude.
For some reason, I don't know if it's because of the time period and like that intro with the synth loops, and I always like this could have been in like Inception or like a Nolan film or something, right?
Yeah, dude. Yes.
It's just a massive widescreen, just amazing, like booming drums. Like it's so.
Maybe it's like aged really well. Like maybe because I remember like being like, oh yeah, there's like a cool song at the end of this EP, but like for whatever reason, like I said earlier, Grays and What Would I Want Sky are really the tracks that like, you know, made their way into my more regular rotation. But this song is so sick. Yeah, beautiful melody, and then that Noah percussion that we love.
Yep.
I love, there's this detail, this song that really highlights their like use of bass frequencies. And it's that like kind of subterranean rumble that sort of transitions to like the next bar, like where like another producer might put like a riser or like a white noise, like shh. They have this kind of like little mini like earthquake sort of feeling thing. Really love that detail. It's like right before the "and I don't want."
Oh,
and
yeah,
I don't want.
yeah. Okay,
it like comes in. That's the first time it comes in. It's used a couple other times in the song, but
and during that line, and I never picked up on this until I saw them perform the song live during the Centipede era. But when Noah's singing that line, Dave goes, "If I let it go, would I let me down?" You can't really hear
Interesting.
You can't really hear it in the mix for this. I don't know if you've ever noticed it. I never did. Is that the deep yeah?
Is it that part?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, listen back to it and like, but live seeing them, Dave, I thought it was like something new that he added. You know, when I saw them perform it live, because it's very apparent, but it's there in the mix, and it's like wow, like another little buried treasure that I found years later, you know. This is why
that's tight.
This is why we listen to this band.
Yeah, man. And that little like maybe post-chorus part that precedes that where their voices are sort of like both kind of looping over that little piano line is so sick, so kaleidoscopic, and like sort of that like disorientation that I was mentioning earlier. It's like sounds so sick. And then we get that earth rumble back into like the verse thing. Yeah. So glad that I kind of rediscovered how sick this song was listening to this EP. It's awesome. And then the left turn at the end, suddenly another little send off, another little
cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Smash cut.
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing that for the first time, or like what's your reaction to that second half, that second part of, or not even really second half, but sort of.
I mean, I loved it all, man. I loved it all right away.
Yeah.
You know, just loved it.
Yeah.
I listened to it a lot for a while.
Yeah.
And you were saying about the sound, and I mean, it's 14 years later, and like the only thing, I mean, this music still sounds amazing, you know, this EP, this era, it still sounds great. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes it feels a little 2009, kind of like the optimism of it, the tweeness, not necessarily this EP, but like the Merriweather era, you know, the kind of blind Obama era optimism that we all had.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I don't know, how does it sound to you now compared to then? Like, does it sound the same? Does it sound dated? How does it sound?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds as amazing as it did the first time I heard it, I think.
Yeah.
It is aged so well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the marriage of their written songs, their performance of them, and then the way these songs are mixed and how they sound is just the trifecta of perfection, you could say. Yeah, I really love the end of I Think I Can, just before we move on from that one. It kind of is similar. It's like it has that chaser effect where after this relative darkness and like intensity of the first half of this song, it's like kind of a quirky like ascension through the clouds. Yeah, it's a nice little, like it feels like whimsical in a way.
It's getting better. It's getting better. Like,
yeah.
Like things are getting better.
But then,
better.
You know, will I get to move on soon? You know, what do you make of those lyrics? They obviously have a particular sheen in retrospect, knowing that Centipede follows this, and
who knows what he was thinking about when he wrote that, but yeah, thinking of it that way, yeah, it's like this is, let's say, looking back, yeah, this is the very end of their Imperial phase, you know, as a band, even though I'd still, counting the solo stuff, I would count through Tomboy as their kind of peak Imperial phase. But as a band, I think, yeah, this is like the end. Oddsack, I kind of keep separate, even though I fucking love Oddsack, you know. But
oh yeah, well, that was also made over like a number of years too, I think.
Right,
so
right. But yeah, I think
I associate it with this period.
I kind of do too. But yeah, you can hear how it's kind of a greatest hits of Animal Collective songs in a good way. But so there's some stuff that sounds like kind of Merriweather-esque. But yeah, it sounds like this song and that kind of the ending part is very, very timely, because what was to come was a lot of change.
Yeah, and it ends on a really mysterious kind of like note, this track, sort of like a Lynchian kind of like drift. It's like a bit haunting. What do you think of the album artwork for Fall Be Kind?
Yeah, it's fine. It's cool.
I think it's pretty cool. What do you see it as?
I mean, it's clearly a statue photographed to a brown paper bag attached to a camera lens. Just kidding. That's what it is, right? Wikipedia said. I guess that's what it is.
No, I think that's been confirmed.
But what did I actually think it was?
I see a dude holding an axe, which kind of goes along with the like fall horror.
I always thought it was like my reflection.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's me. I don't know.
Do you see the axe?
I do. Yeah. Wow. I never noticed that. That's cool.
Crazy. So I did a little reading online about the artwork. I found a Reddit page talking about this. I don't know how popular we are on the Reddit page, by the way. Not sure why that is, but Goot Ningrich 5 years ago provided, the answer of a statue with a brown paper bag stretched over the camera lens. But then this next one blew my mind. Lamb's Bathtub said 5 years ago, I always assumed it was a gnome blowing into a horn. Then Boromir 1 says, I can't unsee that now. And
dude, it's true.
I gotta say, same here, Boromir.
Oh wow.
Definitely can see a gnome now.
Yeah, I can't. It kind of fits, man. I
Yeah,
can't unsee it either. That's exactly what the band saw, I bet.
that's funny. I had never seen that
Um,
until I found this. I had just seen the axe.
when's the best time to listen to this and how?
I mean, for me, What Would I Want Sky will always be driving in my car with the windows down on like a nice day. Like
Mhm.
I think you need some sunshine on your face. I think gray is, morning time for obvious reasons. I think What Would I Want Sky is nice in the morning too. But yeah, if you're on a run, on a bike ride, I just have so many memories of being in college, driving around. This is still the Burn CD days, and I had this on one of my regular rotation Burn CDs and would just listen to it all the time. Yeah, sophomore in college, second year in California. Sorry, I'm talking about my memories now, not when you should listen to this, but
No, it's fine.
but yeah, I mean, I guess as a whole, it is fall be kind, so maybe put it on in the fall.
Yeah.
On a highway, bleed, and I think I can all definitely lend themselves to cooler weather, darker situations, I suppose, light wise. But what about you?
I listened to it when I was revisiting it. I started going for a walk just as the sun was starting to go down, so golden hour into the night, and it was amazing. Listen to it on a good pair of headphones. Yeah.
Yeah, catch a nice red sunset.
So yeah.
Well, what a pleasure to talk about this phenomenal EP with you, Justin. I need to get this on vinyl. I don't have it, but it is basically an album's worth of music, and
Yeah,
I do like the artwork enough to
it's the perfect
want to
length.
look at it more.
It's the perfect length for an album for me these days. It's either I want a half-hour album or I want like an hour and a half album.
Tight.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please, if anyone out there wants to send us like a voice memo about a memory of listening to Animal Collective or being at a show, you should DM us at bonefishpod or email us at bonefishpod@gmail.com.
Oh yeah, we got a really good one about the song Bluish that I need to respond to and include in an episode. But yeah, love to hear from the listeners, so don't be shy.
Or yeah, any questions in general, hit us up.
Yeah. And if you don't want to write in, just smash that like or subscribe or whatever the thing is, Take it easy, Justin, and all of you out there.
Bonefish.